Hi, I'm Suki Baxter, and today I'm going to share with you how you can use self-myofascial release to get rid of rib pain. Ribs are meant to be very mobile. They roll when you breathe, or they should roll when you breathe, like Venetian blinds. So when you breathe in, your ribs should lift up and out here and up and out here. You should get an expansion here across this area. This is called the costal arch, and it's the area at the bottom of your rib cage. If you've had impact, injury, or fractured ribs, it can create scar tissue around the ribs, and it can cause tight muscles and cause muscle spasming where the ribs won't be quite as flexible. Additionally, ribs are supposed to be springy, so if you have your rib cage and you push in on it, you should be able to compress it a little bit and it should feel springy and resilient. If your rib cage is very, very rigid, then you are losing your ability to breathe. It's constricting your lungs and not allowing you to get full air into your lungs. So let's get started relieving your rib pain. First, what you want to do is find the place where it hurts or where it's tight. If you fractured or injured your ribs, this will probably be around the site of the injury. If you just have pain, kind of walk your fingers around and find the painful areas. Be gentle because it'll feel pretty sharp. For me, my ribs are pretty good, but I do tend to get a little tight, right about there in my ribs. So I found a rib that when I press on it, it's sore. If you press on your rib and it's sore, that's not normal. It's not supposed to hurt when you press on it, unless you're punching yourself, but you shouldn't be doing that. So I'm going to find this rib right here, and I'm going to take my other hand, actually I'm going to put my left hand on the rib because that's easier for me. I'm going to take my right fingers and walk it down to the space between my ribs, and that's called the intercostal muscles. And there's a lot of tissue and fascia in there. And I'm just going to use my left fingers to hold the rib in place. And I'm going to gently spread downward with my right fingers. I'm making this movement a little bigger than it actually is so that you can actually see on the video this is the direction you're going in. But when I'm actually doing this, I'm kind of getting my finger in between the ribs and just gently pressing down. And the rib below is a little sore as well. So that's normal too. And you can help yourself out here by taking a nice deep breath. So I'm going to put my finger there, and then what you'll do is as you press down, inhale, and you can use your breath to spread the ribs apart. And you should feel space happening between the ribs. You can also use a really broad approach, so you can take the flat of your hand like this and just sweep it downward, like so. This is helpful if it's really stingy and really sore in there. You just keep sweeping down and down. Again, you can sweep down as you breathe in, so. And release. And release. And this will help you to just lengthen out any areas of your rib cage that have gotten crunched or stuck or restricted. If you've had a fractured rib, they can't set a fractured rib, they just basically wait for it to heal. So if that rib heals a little bit off from where it was originally, like I said, ribs are very flexible and mobile. They're moving around in there, all the time. With every movement that you make, your ribs are connected to your spine. So every time your spine moves, your ribs should be fanning out and moving as well. So obviously, if you have a fractured rib, it's going to be shifting around, and it might not heal just exactly, in the alignment of where it's supposed to be. So it can be very, very tender. So just find exactly the fracture, and you'll be able to find it because it'll be kind of sharp. And then you want to think about massaging the casing that the rib is in. So your ribs and all of your bones are wrapped in something called the periosteum, and it's fascia, it's connective tissue that wraps around the bone, and then all of your muscles blend into that periosteum, and that's how they connect. They're not tacked on with a tack. The tendon of the muscle blends into the periosteum, making a continuum. And that periosteum can become twisted and tight and restricted. So if you find your fractured rib, you can sort of work that periosteum and try to get some relief. And it's a subtlety. If you don't have any training in body work, it might take some time to get the hang of this, but just imagine that you're massaging saran wrap that's around your rib instead of thinking about actually working on the bone. And if you start to imagine that and pretend that that's what's going on, you'll start to get the depth and the pressure right. Instead of thinking about I'm going to dig into my bone. So you can do this anywhere on your rib cage. You can do this if you have pain or if you don't have pain. It helps you to get better breath. It'll also help you to lengthen your torso because if your ribs become tight, you get sucked down into your hips, which causes crunching in the abdomen. It causes forward roll posture. So you can use this all over your rib cage. Obviously, it's a little hard to do on your own back. So if you have some pain in your back, you definitely need to consult a qualified body worker who can help you to sort that out. All right, I'm Suki Baxter. Thank you very much for watching. If you found this video helpful, please come and visit me on my site at sukibaxter.com and free yourself from pain and stiffness.